Well, hey everybody, it's the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones. Welcome in. I'm so glad to see all you guys. I almost forgot to pull myself up on the screen tonight. That was a close one. All right, y'all. We have a fantastic show here. Once again, I have remote viewed something very interesting and something I had never heard of before. It is called the Van Meter Monster. Okay, and so I hope you guys have got your popcorn ready. We're going to have a really fun show tonight. I have my friend Barry Littleton here in the studio with me to discuss this monster. Okay. If you guys would like to follow along with my remote viewing data, I have a Patreon. That is the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. Okay. Also, I have a website if you'd like to follow along with all of my shows. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. And also, I do have a shop that's called War Woman Goods over there on Etsy. Okay, so you guys go check out the goods. It's about Christmas time. See, I'll do your shopping at War Woman Goods this year. Okay, awesome. All right, well, let's get this show on the road tonight. All right, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank all my moderators. I see you guys in there. Y'all put some amazing comments up already. We're going to get to those tonight. Okay, and if you guys have any questions, y'all put them in all caps, and I'll try to pull them up on the screen tonight. Okay, well, let me give you a little overview of what this monster is. In the fall of 1903, several respected and prominent men of Van Meter reported a half-human, that's Van Meter, Iowa, okay? They reported a half-human, half-animal with enormous, smooth bat wings flying around. It let off a powerful stench, and it startled them because it moved at an enormous speed. It shot a blinding light from a horn on the middle of its forehead. Okay. I love stuff like this, y'all. This is such a cool cryptid. And it's not only just a couple of men saw this, a big chunk of men in the town saw it. A bunch of very, I want to say high class, okay? Like pillars of the community saw this. So it wasn't just anybody on the street. Okay, these are people that had some clout in that town, saw this, and so we're going to talk about it tonight. I have my friend Barry Littleton here. Barry is an amazing researcher. He is fresh off the airplane. Just the past couple of days, he just got back from the Stairway to the Stars conference in Las Vegas. So please help me welcome to the show my friend Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Greetings. What's up, Jessica? How's it going?
Hey, Barry, I missed you.
I
tell you what, I missed you. You've been at that conference, and give me a little update because you were hanging out with all the Ancient Aliens people on there at that conference, right?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Somewhat unexpected. It was cool in terms of there's a really good vibe there. It was a very, very well organized. And it was really a pleasure to be a part of it. I was a part of a couple of panels, and some of the Ancient Alien people were on those panels. And also I did an individual presentation as well that went very well. Actually, quite a few people came, so I was thrilled with that, no doubt. But it was a really, really good event, definitely. And I think what I'm seeing is that these conferences are actually going forward in terms of the information that's being disseminated, and they're not so cookie cutter and things of that nature. That's important. I think that more information keeps coming up. So it was a blessing in that way. I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot of things too. I've even talked to Randall Carlson, who I just did a video about some of his research recently concerning the Earth catastrophes. And he had mentioned something to me. He said that he thought there was about 18 strikes in the span of about 1,000 years, opposed to just the three I've talked about. That's quite interesting, just stuff like that you learn at little places like this. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. That's wild. It's really cool. And I did you get a chance to talk about some of our remote viewing data over there too?
Actually, I did. I talked about that on the UFO UAP panel that I was on. I was sitting next to Carolyn Corey, and Richard Dolan was on that panel, and also Sheehan. And I had mentioned they started talking about nuclear weapons. And so I brought up the fact that, it's very interesting who has stopped the nuclear missiles. Those ships that come over have done that, and nuclear missiles, silos, and also who it is that talked to the children and the Zimbabwe children, and also the other 60 or 70 cases that Preston Dennett has in that book, Schoolyard Encounters. I brought that up. And I had given you those two, both as blind targets. So I mentioned that there.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much for doing that.
I'll say the response I got from everybody, including the panelists, was really positive. So
really? Okay. Well, of course it was. Of course it was. You're doing fantastic work, Barry, and you deserve to get some recognition.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I normally can float around invisible at most of these functions, but this time it wasn't quite the case. So that's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. You're gonna have to start carrying a Sharpie around. We used to joke about that at Spaced Out Radio about how we have to carry Sharpies around one day. But it's a funny little joke we got going back and forth. But yeah, it's fun, man. I'm so excited for you, and I wish I could have been there. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wish you could have been there too. It was different. I've never been to Vegas before, so it wasn't a partying trip, but it was still very interesting to see,
Oh, you can get married in the Taco Bell there, right? That's one thing I learned about Vegas. You can get married in a Taco Bell. Okay.
I would imagine a soft taco there is probably about what, 14, 15, 16 bucks?
Just slightly more. 30, yeah. It's slightly more expensive than your local neighborhood Taco Bell, but you can also get a margarita. Okay, so it's worth it. All right. I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're not here to talk about Taco Bell margaritas, y'all, even though it would be nice to have them on every corner, right? But yeah, we're here to talk about a weird cryptid tonight, Barry, and I just love these historical cryptids, and this is one that was given to me. This is a practice target from a little while back, and so yeah, this thing. Okay, I guess I could kind of talk about it a little bit more, right? I guess you've done a little bit of research on this. I've done a little bit of research on it, and what is your thought on the Van Meter monster just right off the bat, Barry?
First, I got to fully admit, I had not heard about this cryptid. This one was new to me.
Yeah,
so most of my introduction to this came today. But, I pick things up when I see things a lot, psychometry almost, but I pick stuff up. And it took me years to accept that this memory I have with entertainment, when watching something one time, I remember every line from any actor and every scene. And it used to be a curse when I was a kid because everything on Cinemax and HBO was like the same movie every other day. So I was cooked after the first day of watching movies on there. Anyway, but I didn't realize that that's how often spirit will communicate with me as well. I couldn't accept that till I got older. And I'll pick up entertainment or scenes or stuff like that. And what I immediately picked up when I saw this thing, it was Rodan. I'm getting Rodan. Look up Rodan. That's what they kept saying. Okay, now Rodan was from the Godzilla era, and what it was a Pterodon that was exposed to nuclear waste of some type, similar to Godzilla. But the thing is that when looking at what Rodan was and the Pterodon itself, it had a crest that is similar to the crest that's being described as this being emitting light from this crest, this horn on the top of its head. And when reading this about this creature, I also kept picking up like time travel too. And we have these chimeras that have been made throughout history that we've talked about on so many of your shows now. See, that's a good one there. On so many of your shows now. And this seems another example of that. And anything that has a head that lights up, has a lighting, that almost sounds like that could be some type of a cyborg, some type of a creature like that, because that's artificial. Okay, something's artificial there. And when you think about things like, even I noticed certain things about this too. When I first is when trying to look up the tale of this and the story, it's really varied. Did you notice that? You can't get a
Yeah,
consistent really story about it. And
right.
that's kind of alarming to a certain degree, because it's supposed to be something that a whole city of people had seen. So it should be a little bit more consistent than what we're getting, it seems like,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, yeah, but the thing that kept popping up is before this thing was seen the first time, there was UFO seen.
Oh, really? I missed
Some
that.
a bright light, a UFO. I saw several accounts of that, and then this thing was starting to see later on after this UFO, this bright light had been seen. So that right there is showing you that you have some type of some type of extraterrestrial activity there, or what we could call crypto-terrestrials. We've talked about that, which are right here on
Mhm.
this planet with us, inside the Earth and outside the Earth, but they're actually existing with us, and they use space and galactic space as the best decoy they could have when they're actually right here with us, and their technology is just different. But we see it all the time. But we think it's outer space and aliens when they're right here on terra firma.
That's right. That's right. Wow, that's really interesting. Now the last two pictures that I've shown, this picture and the last picture I showed, this is the Van Meter monster as described by the people who eyewitnessed this creature. Okay, it kind of looks like a pterosaur. It kind of looks like, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to give you some accounts of this thing, and then we're going to go over my remote viewing data. Okay, so the people in this town in 1903 in Van Meter, Iowa, they were seeing this creature. Okay, hold on. Let me find the accounts. Listen, some of the best information that I found on this creature came from a website for our government, Barry. Okay, how about them apples, y'all? From our government, from the U.S. Department of the Interior, the Bureau of Land Management. Okay, they had a website that linked to a story on this because they were talking about the cryptids of North America. And if I can get this to work, I'm going to show it to you guys. Okay. Hold on. It's going to take me 1 second, y'all, because my computer's so slow. If it'll let me do it. Here we go. Cryptids of North America. Okay. It says Van Meter, Iowa. Okay, so they went over the information about Iowa a little bit, and it's talking about how Jacob, let's see if this is going to show up. It takes a second, y'all, for my computer to actually bring this up. I'm still waiting. Okay, well, if it doesn't pull it up, that's fine. Okay, so Van Meter, Iowa is named after Jacob Rhodes Van Meter and his family, who had land holdings in part of Iowa. The United States GLO, which I'm not exactly sure what that stands for, has records of this dating from 1851. Let's see, Van Meter was a captain in the Civil War and a mill owner and operator. Okay, in 1903, U.G. Griffith observed. Okay, it says that it's sharing on my computer, y'all, but it's not. Okay, it says in 1903, U.G. Griffith observed a mysterious light on the roof of the Mater and Gregg building, and at first he assumed the light indicated the presence of burglars. As he got closer, however, the light moved to the other side of the street, and U.G. Griffith continued home and went to bed. A few nights later, Dr. Alcott was visited by a light in the middle of the night. He went outside to investigate its source and saw a half-human, half-animal creature lingering behind the light. The creature was described as having great bat-like wings and a single blunt horn. Dr. Alcott gripped his gun and shot at the monster. As each night passed, more and more townspeople were visited by the Van Meter monster. Fear increased, and town people began to organize themselves to fight it off. One night on patrol, they happened upon the Van Meter monster's lair. They saw more than one monster and decided to stake out the location in hopes of slaying those monsters. As dawn broke, a creature with huge bat-like wings was spotted, and they shot at it. Multiple people shot at it, but apparently they missed. Okay, in this account from this website, which is not showing up on my screen right now for some reason, it says that they missed. Okay, it said a force of men set to work to barricade the creatures inside the old coal mine, which was thought to be where they lived. Now, in other accounts, the creatures came out. There were two of them. There was one big one and one smaller one. They said that this thing was 8 feet tall, Barry. I mean, that's pretty big. And then there was a smaller one that came out of the cave. It was a coal mine. So it came out of the coal mine. And as they started shooting at them, they disappeared back into the coal mine, and then they were never seen again. And then apparently from this story that they were barricaded in. Okay, so like you said, the stories are a little bit different with the different accounts. But that's all we have remote viewing here to save the day. Just kidding.
Real quick, I read a lot of accounts that said that it was impervious. They were impervious to all weaponry. So I mean, there again is that variation that they missed, that they hit them, they were impervious. And just for the record, I see a lot of people saying Petrosaurus. Actually, I'm referring to Rodan was a Pterodon. Okay, Pterodon. And Pterodon and Petrosaurus are different. Pterodon is the one that had actually the crest back there. And they're not pterodactyls. You have different types of those flying ones. You have pterodactyls, pterodactyls, Pterodons, and Petrosaurus.
The Pterodon.
Pterodon is what the Petrosaurus doesn't have the crest like that. The horn, that's the Pterodon that has that. Rodan was a Pterodon.
Okay.
Pterodon, I want to say. Petradon. Yeah.
Pterodon.
Anyway.
I say Pterodon. I don't even pronounce the P, but I don't know. I just say Pterodon. Pterodon.
That's not one. That's not one.
Okay. Well, these are kind of some examples I found. Some that kind of looked a little bit like this Van Meter monster. So it looks very similar to that. Now, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility to have this creature that they spotted be a pterodon or a pterosaur, right? Because we've been having sightings of pterodons and pterosaurs in modern day. Like in the past 10 years, we've been having sightings or longer in North America, Barry. But the guys, okay, so some of the ways that they were described, one of the gentlemen said that it hopped like a kangaroo. Okay, it had kangaroo legs, actually. Now, another cryptid that we looked into and that I did a target of was the chupacabra. Now, I vaguely remember that having kangaroo legs, Barry. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also reported to be a marsupial. Huh. And that's something that John Vavinko's team had seen also. But he had said that once the marsupial part is over and the child emerges from the pouch, the mother immediately starts hunting it. And that's something that they said it was some sort of something messed up in the breeding program they're doing with those things or something,
Yeah. I mean, talking about eating your own, I tell you what. I mean, that goes against all motherly instincts. You know what I mean? Like to eat the kid. I don't know.
Yeah. I know there's some creatures that do it, but not like as habit, like what it was described by John. It's quite creepy. I mean, it's enough to where I think it kind of freaked out the remote viewers that witnessed it.
Oh my gosh. I bet it did. A lot of these targets, man, you never know what you're going to get because you don't know what you're remote viewing when you're doing blind targets. So it's got to be really odd. I mean, I remember that target that I did with the chupacabra. I was so confused, Barry, because I kept telling you asked me what I thought it was, and I said, I think it's a dinosaur, but it's a mammal and a reptile, and it's all over the place. And I thought I was completely wrong. I thought I had just blown that whole target.
For the record, the thing that was even more interesting is that you picked up on that hurricane. You picked up on the hurricane. The hurricane that John Vavinko had said there was a hurricane that hit a genetic laboratory and it released those things. And then when I started correlating when the chupacabra was actually seen. And I know there's somebody that has stated that the chupacabra wasn't real because they did an investigation on the one person and yada, yada, yada. That thing was seen by a bunch of people in Puerto Rico. It was like a rash of it that came right then in 1994. But also, if you investigate NOAA, there was a hurricane that hit in Puerto Rico in 1994, Hurricane Marilyn. So that actually corresponds exactly. And I mentioned before, I typed in Puerto Rico in genetic research labs, and all sorts of stuff comes up. Then you start tracing back to all these companies, how many of them go back to 94. These are things you can trace. It's not, it's not just you and I talking conspiracy stuff.
That's right. That's right. So much that we can go back and trace. So super interesting stuff. Absolutely. Now, speaking of tracing things, we have some pictures here. Okay, and I figured I'd show the audience some of these pictures. Now, I did get these off of that website for the Bureau of Land Management with the United States. This is the United States government site, okay? Department of the Interior, okay? And this is a historical picture of, let me take this comment down, this was a town of Van Meter, Iowa. Okay, that's in the 1800s there. Very small town. I mean, it's big for that area probably at the time. You know what I mean? It was hustling and bustling. But that was the town around the time that all this was occurring. Okay, because this happened in 1903. So this picture was made probably around that time. Now, of course, these are some of the men. Now, in the picture, like on the website, it kind of made out like these were the men that were chasing down the monster, but I don't think so. I said the 1 second to the left on the top row had something to do with it, though. Okay, he had something to do with it. So full disclosure, y'all, I don't know who these men are. Okay, but but the guy at the top left, second to the left, he had something to do with it. Okay, and now this is Mr. Van Meter. He's the one that started the town. This is who the monster is named after. But I'm putting this out there for the historical record of all of this. This is a town in Iowa. Okay, I guess that's all. Now, here's a building.
There's like a bunch of honest people there. I have much more faith in this now.
It's just all giving credibility, Barry. Just kidding. I don't know. It's okay. So this is a building. Honestly, I think this is photoshopped. I'm just gonna say, I believe this is Photoshop. I'm not gonna say it's Photoshop, but it might be photoshopped. But there's a picture here in the town, and there's something on top of that building. But that goes with the story of the man who said that there was a U.G. Griffith. Oh, U.G. Griffith. Okay, that's who that man is. The man that's the second to the left on the top row over here. Up there, he's the first one that saw this thing. That's how it is, y'all. I totally did not make that connection. He's the first man that saw the light on the roof of the Mater and Gregg building, and this is actually that building. At first, he assumed the light indicated the presence of burglars, and then he realized there were no burglars there. So, but he had seen something on top of that building. So that happened. All right, so I'm going to show. Look, here's a picture of this creature. This is somebody shooting at it. Okay, look at his eyes. It's like, I'm busted. Okay, so this is where it was getting shot, and also, well, I thought I had a newspaper clipping. I guess I didn't upload it, but this thing is like 2 or 3 times the size of a horse. Okay, there was actually a picture that I did not upload. I thought I did, where it's carrying off a horse. Okay, because they were trying to show a size comparison. But generally, this is what it looked like right there. Okay, that's it. Okay, so
there again, that's dinosaur proportions,
Totally, totally dinosaur-ish. Which is interesting because on this, okay, so this is a practice target from a while back, y'all. Okay, this is one of my practice targets that I was tasked with, and these things are for fun. Okay, and so this show is for fun. This is for entertainment purposes only. All right, but Okay, so some of my sensory data, Barry, I picked up on fierce, piercing, scary, moaning, crawling. I was sensing something crawling, hiding, fresh, solid, healing, and alone. Something that was alone. Okay. Now my AOL. This is my analytic overlay. This is like me. You're not supposed to make sense to anything when you're remote viewing, okay? But it's it is kind of my brain making sense to what I'm sensing. Okay. And so I actually heard the phrase "land before time," which is a movie. It's a cartoon about dinosaurs. Okay. So "land before time," I wrote down challenge, and then I heard rewrite history. Rewrite history. And then, which is interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Time travel. Man, that comes up so often now in these targets, Barry. Time travel, timeline shifts and splits. Okay. I was going to talk about another target. Let's stick to this target, though. Stick to this one. Okay. So I heard vibration, coming out. This is no joke. And I heard important. And then I picked up on two interesting phrases, messenger and watcher. Okay. Which, by the way, I'm going to take a commercial break. That reminds me of another cryptid that we've looked into, Barry, the Mothman. Okay. Because in my remote viewing data of that, I picked up on watcher and messenger. Okay. So I think there's a connection here. I also wrote down grounded, reclusive, hidden in plain sight. Okay, which is interesting because guess what? That phrase came out of with other remote viewing target that came from the pterosaurs. That I literally 100% absolutely wrote that down on my data for pterosaurs. There's modern day sightings of pterosaurs. Okay, I picked up on flesh and bone, solitary again. So like solitary and reclusive and alone. I picked up on those things, and then I picked up on dimensional overlap, dimensions and dimensional overlap. Okay. Open, broken, hot. I was picking up on laser beams. Okay, which is interesting because this thing's shooting some kind of light out of his forehead. Okay, from what the guys were saying. So I picked up on amplified and a portal, an underground event, The Conjuring. Okay, that was even in my data. There is some other stuff. I picked up on laser beams, laser beam, and laser focus. And then
The Conjuring. So are you saying it's satanic? It's conjured up.
I mean, it could be black magic kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just wrote down The Conjuring, like the movie, but I mean, yeah, absolutely.
It looks like pretty much a demon of some types. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But I can't get past the report of the light coming out of the horn. That I think is very, very significant. That shows non-terrestrial origins.
Okay. Well, and I got
AI of a type.
Or AI. Okay, and something else. The last little thing that I wanted to throw in because I had more data. You guys can see it if you go to my Patreon. But I'm trying to put out the most significant stuff. I picked up on Christmas and Krampus. Okay, I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but isn't Krampus demonic kind of? Okay, so I don't know. Could have something to do with that.
Isn't it like the bad Bigfoot Santa or something like that?
Yeah, okay. It's like the demonic Santa Claus. Yeah.
That's like a sci-fi thing, right? Sci-fi
I don't know. I mean, there's like European countries and cultures that they really believe in Krampus. I don't know. I'm sure people in our audience would know better than I do, but yeah.
Maybe the Gugly that stole the suit. Gugly that stole the Santa suit. Sorry, that's a bad.
Gugly. Sorry. Yeah, that's really scary. Yeah. Okay. So the laser beam. Okay. So the laser beam, the light. Okay. So I'm assuming that was like the light on its forehead. And here we have I have a little the drawing here, which is like an artist rendition of the laser beam coming out of its head. I mean, when I see that, I think of like directed energy weapon or something like that. I mean, or a unicorn. I mean, there's so many things that this could have something to do with. But I literally picked up on laser beam. Now, God, I hate to say directed energy weapon because I mean, that would indicate that this would be like an AI type of animal. Now, I did pick up this was flesh and bone. Okay.
At
So,
least partly, right?
yes,
I mean,
partly
would
at
you pick
least.
up if it was, let's for say, like T-101, if it was actually a metal endoskeleton wrapped up by human flesh? Would you pick that up though? You know what I mean? Just food for thought. You know, when I think of that, because I think of things of like some of these petrosauruses and these different flying pterosaurs and things I've heard about that almost sound like they're sentinels. And when I say that, it's something similar to like, the Transformers had those Dinobots, and the Dinobots, they had one I think was called Glide. Wasn't that the it was like a pterodactyl, right?
Yeah, I
Just
guess
saying
so.
stuff like that. You know, even as far as out there around Mount Adams, I'd heard the rumors about some type of a Petrosaurus they've seen flying around there and eating roadkill. And the way they were describing it, it sounded like some type of a sentinel that comes out of that mountain.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
food for thought. But we're dealing with these chimeras and things. It's like, oh, bets are off the table.
Okay, Barry, this is a cool comment. Okay, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, what's up? It says, whoa, you're actually correct. They do have directed energy weapons. They call them dragons in Asia and breathe fire, directed energy weapon. Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, it could be something like that. I mean, I don't normally pick up on lasers and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what my targets are, but for cryptids, we have not. I don't think I've ever picked up on a laser being associated with a cryptid before, which I find very interesting. But you're right. I mean, it's almost like a cyborg or the Terminator. The Terminator is like metal robot on the inside and flesh on the outside, right? So
Mhm.
could be. I don't.
Yeah, something's off there with that. You know, and like I said, it sounds like either experiment or probably even opposed as being something from the dimension, and whatever it is associated with those UFOs. I saw several accounts of that. The UFO seen before that thing showed up the first time.
So this was in 19 because it was only seen for about a week. Okay, so what did they describe the UFOs as looking like, Barry? Because I didn't find that I didn't find that when I
Bright
was doing
light,
this
bright
research
light,
today.
a bright unknown light, very bright light. It was never anything more than that described with it. The bright light, and it was like pulsating, flashing. And I mean,
Wow.
interestingly enough, most of the accounts I saw included that it was saw before the guy saw that before he saw it the first time, and it was quoted a couple of times. And then
Okay.
after that, then from there was the thieves and all that, yada 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 yada. You know,
Okay. That's
and
so interesting.
again, what does it show? It's another one of these cryptids that shows up and then just jumps in the field of awareness and it jumps away and it's gone. And that's it. You know what I mean? Just for a
Mhm.
little short time is it seen and it's gone. That's fascinating to me how these cryptids, so many of them do that. Whether it's to where people laughed at me when I did the one that was a video over jumping entities, the ones that jump in your field of awareness and jump away. It's a lot of them that do that. I think there's a reason for that. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, we had. I remember we looked into. I did a show on Spring Hill Jack a while back, or it was maybe it was the Vampire of Minerals Point, Wisconsin, I think, and we talked about Spring Hill Jack, and that's just one. Those are two. A lot of these cryptids just jump in and out of our reality.
mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
totally.
another one I think we can, in some ways, mildly associate with this also, which is something I used to laugh at it when I first heard the term. I guess it's the term bat squatch. The old bat squatch. Yeah, but that's what this is actually has some similarities to that. And there again, that's another one that jumps in the field of awareness and out and has similarities to the Mothman, the bat squatch. Now we've got the whatever we're gonna call this thing, dude Dewdrop, whatever.
The Van Meter monster.
Yeah, Van Meter. Thank you.
The Dew. Oh, we could call it the Dew monster. The DEW. Yeah. I mean, but it didn't cause any destruction though. Okay, from what I know, and it's another cryptid that is bulletproof.
Yes.
I mean, what's up with that?
That again, I mean, I guess wildlife experts would say certain animals that are so thick that you would need, that they'd just be impervious to a certain degree. But this is something different, I think. These cryptids we hear about that are so impervious to weapons. I find that interesting. Either is it because they're not fully flesh and blood, or is it because they're from a different density and have a resistance to things that are much more than us here that are just mere third dimensional mortals?
Yeah. I mean, we hear about dogmen being bulletproof in Sasquatch, and people shoot them and the bullets just bounce right off of them, and it just makes them mad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they described this Van Meter monster as doing. When all these men were shooting at it, it just irritated it, and it flew away. That's all it did, just flew away. Now I made another interesting connection.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that the fact that these things seem to keep being associated with the mine, whether they were coming out of the mines and they were trapped in the mines and all that to me screams inner earth to me. Anyway,
100%.
You're going to say something.
100%. And we've got the Bigfoots. We're always making these connections with Bigfoots and the gold mines as well. And we got the rakes in the gold mines and the Tommy knockers, all sorts of stuff hiding out these gold mines.
Tommy knockers.
The Tommy knockers. Yeah. Coal mines and gold mines.
What are the Tommy knockers? I know we're supposed to be talking about that, but please don't leave me on the edge of the precipice. What's a Tommy knocker again? I remember that movie.
Well, I think it's about time that the Cryptid Huntress does a show on Tommy knockers. What do y'all think? I think that should be one of the next shows. Okay. Tommy knockers. I just saw a video. I don't know if it's real, but I saw a video of an alleged real Tommy knocker. Somebody kind of baited one and left some stuff out beside the opening of in a cave or not a cave, a mine. And it kind of left it there so it'd come out and get it. And they actually filmed. So it looks real. I don't know, y'all, but it's a gnome. It looks like a little gnome almost. It looks like an old man, but it's really tiny, really tiny. And it came out and it slowly grabbed whatever that guy left out there, and it kind of ducked back underneath into the coal mine or a gold mine. Whatever. I think it was a coal mine.
So that's a Tommy knocker. Is a door from a cave.
Well, that's not all they do, though. So what they do is the miners have always, for centuries, they've talked about being inside these mines and hearing knocking on the walls, and it kind of shows. I think it either warns them. It's either a warning, or it guides them. It's either a guide or a warning. Okay, like the mine's about to collapse, or this is where to get to. I don't know. That's why we need to do a show on it. I need to figure out what these things are. Robert says he has heard Tommy knockers in mines before. Yeah, it's got to be kind of scary, but they're just like little gnomes or little people, I guess. And they're usually all men, from what I could tell. They're like leprechauns. Yeah, thank you.
It goes into that little people category again. Little people, crypto terrestrials. Or maybe for some reason, remember that movie Cat's Eye with Drew Barrymore with little kids? She had a thing that came out of the wall, was trying to suck her breath. Remember the little troll?
No, I don't remember seeing that.
You never watched Cat's Eye? That's an 80s movie. Yeah, there's last episode, Drew Barrymore's on it. She's a little girl still, just after E.T., I would say, right around that time, and Firestarter, right around that time. And she's got this troll that's in the wall, and it comes out and is trying to suck her breath. That's what it does. And they think the cat, cats used to have a reputation for getting up on babies and smelling the milk on their breath and sucking their breath. That was an old wives' tale. So that's kind of what this troll was based off of. Sorry, I guess I'm showing my
Okay.
age. Just the 80s kick down, early 80s. Sorry. Anyway, next. Before I can
Okay.
boot out of, I can boot out of here.
So this is going to blow your mind, Barry. While you
What's
were
up?
away at your conference Thursday night, I did a show. I think it was Thursday. No, it was Wednesday. Maybe I guess it was Wednesday. I did a show with Dennis Carroll, and Dennis was in the chat a while ago. Hey, Dennis. Dennis came on. We talked about changelings. Okay, that was last Wednesday. And changelings are of the fairy class, or something, or like troll. They're either trolls or fairies, and they go and replace their children with human children and kidnap the human children. Okay, and we talked about all of this last week on the channel. So this is all it's all connected. We're all bringing it full circle here, talking about this because we just had a conversation about that on Wednesday. So
you like me were a Highlander fan, right?
yeah,
The Highlander, the Immortals were all foundlings.
foundlings. That's right.
Interesting. The
Yeah.
change and that old story, the changeling, again, same situation. Interesting, and what was always told for me quickly about the little people from my friend Travis, who was a Chickasaw and
Uh-huh.
from Oklahoma, and he'd said he ran into the little people before and he got in trouble for talking to them because one is they kidnap kids. And my other friend that was Jim, a mineral collector, family said when they were a little girl that they encountered the little people and that they tried to get them to go off the trail and to go play. They said if I went off the trail, I'd have got lost immediately. See, so there again, it's just food for thought again.
Yeah, and all I said was watch your kids, y'all. Watch your kids. Make sure if you notice anything different in your kid, you better really pay attention to your kids. Okay, make sure they have not been switched and are a changeling. All right. Okay. Well, all right. So back to our target tonight. This Van Meter monster. It's I made another connection to this thing because it sounded a lot like Mothman. Okay, so Mothman. The wings. Okay, I had remote viewed the Mothman a long time ago, and I remember in my data, the data did suggest that I was looking at something with bat wings, like the material of bats, like the wings that bats have. Okay, now some people say that they have like furry wings. Mothman have furry wings, but all these drawings and pictures that I found, they look like kind of looks like bat wings to me.
Yeah.
Which is similar to how this Van Meter monster was described with bat wings.
Just like Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch, that's right. Yeah, that's Squatch. Oh man, but yeah, and in the data I did pick up on Watcher and what was that? Watcher and Messenger, and that was some of the same data that I got for the Mothman remote viewing target that I had done. Okay, so could they be cousins? Maybe. What if they're cousins? We got the Van Meter monster over here and the Mothman. I mean, I believe that there are tons of Mothman-like creatures out there. There's not just one, just like there's tons of Bigfoots. There's not just one Bigfoot, as any Bigfoot researcher could tell you.
It's interesting. I think that both the Bat Squatch and the Mothman were reported to have self-illuminated eyes. Is that correct? I believe.
Yes. They did.
Again, there's that component there. When it's not just eye shine, it's self-illuminating. That's not a natural quality for the most part. You know what I mean? There's something that's
something extraterrestrial.
Well, then again, the Terminators, they had lights coming out of their eyes. There were red lights too. There were red lights too, weren't they? And it's interesting how many times when you really start listing these people that say they've had telepathic mind speak from Sasquatch, several times you'll hear that they were warned against the ones that have red eyes, that they're not good. They'll kill people. I've heard that many times, especially in like Bigfoot case files. It's on there, it comes up quite a few times. So why? But they don't say anything more than why do they have red eyes? Why are they bad? It's a very interesting hypothesis.
Yeah. I could make another connection. When we've been out in the field doing field research, there was a night where I was out in the field. My partner and I, we were out there hiding in the woods. We were trying to get the Bigfoot to walk out and step on us. Basically, one night we were on a special mission, and my team came out. We're trying to distract, make some commotion so the Bigfoots might walk out and step on me and my partner that was out there. And as we were sitting there, being quiet, watching our teammates through the woods, hiding out, they were all seeing red lights in the tree line right beside us, and they thought it was us. But it wasn't us. It was about 10 feet from where we were sitting. And right before that happened, I had just recorded, and unbeknownst to me, I did not know because I didn't hear it with my own ears. On my EVP recording device, I picked up on what sounded like bottle rockets going off all around me. Okay, and this is where right there where those red lights were in the trees. So there's something and it was very robotic, like very artificial. Okay, right there beside us. So who's to say some of this stuff isn't AI and stuff? I mean,
bringing that up now, didn't you read in some of those reports people were hearing those sounds before that creature was showing up? These grinding type of metal sounds.
Yes, they were hearing some kind of interesting sounds. That's right.
Doesn't that sound awful similar to what Linda Moulton Howe's investigating on these earth sounds?
I don't know. Is that what she says?
Sounds that still she's investigating not just the horn sounds people have been hearing, but there's this other that sounds like these metal scraping, this metal machines. And I have somebody that's been following me for a while. Years ago, they sent me something. Where were they, in Chicago or New York? Somewhere in Chicago, I think. And these sounds near their apartment complex, you could hear it. They said it was vibrating their apartment complex, and it sounded like these metal scraping sounds. That become quite the phenomenon for a while because no one knows the origin of them. But there's something similar described with these beings before they were seen, along with that UFO, and sometimes not even the UFO, just the sound of that the machine sounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it coming from them or coming from what's producing them or releasing them?
Okay. Well, something else that people that have encountered Dogman before, and just people out in the woods, they've had a Sasquatch experience, but it's usually associated with Dogman. They say it sounds like a metal garbage can gets thrown down, like plopped down in the woods right before they have a Dogman sighting. So that's another metallic sound. Right before a cryptid sighting. Now, could this be the door to an deep underground military base opening or closing? Maybe. Could it be what it sounds like when a portal opens? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that, but I think it's important to keep an open mind about it. There's something to hear a metallic sound like that, it seems like that would be like man-made or artificial to me, but I don't know.
That's a good question. What sounds do portals make when they open? Especially big ones or ones that might even be artificial to a degree. What sounds do they make? Like I know sometimes some of the light beings and some on those other dimensions, like fifth up, they have a type of static electricity type of feel to them, like pow, pow, pow. It's very interesting, so I wonder what would the different types of portals sound like?
Well,
it's good food for thought.
Well, the one that my team believes we did document that portal, okay, and it made zero noise, but it was almost like holographic, kind of. It was almost holographic because you couldn't see it with your bare eye. You could only see it through thermals and FLIRs, night vision. Okay, so there was no seeing it other than, like I said, it's almost holographic in a way. So I don't know. I've always the feeling that I got when I was told the stories about people encountering what sounds like heavy metal doors shutting in the woods, or a garbage can getting plopped on the ground, like a big dumpster, like not a little garbage can, a big dumpster. I just feel like I think that's man. I felt like that. There's got to be doors opening and closing to like an underground facility. Okay. I didn't pick up on any of that with this creature right here, though. I didn't pick up on any kind of like government conspiracies or cover-ups. This was one of the first. Because usually we're picking up on government cover-ups, and on this one, I was just picking up on laser beams, and well, I did get an underground event. I did pick up on underground event.
Glowing guys and natural night. Look, reading the comment. That's eye shine. They
eye shine.
They don't self-illuminate. Cats do not have self-illuminating eyes, no more than we do.
That's a reflection.
Something bounce off of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
These things are reported as having self-illuminating eyes of a red color normally, which is even more interesting because when we see even eye shine on us, it's normally like yellow, you know. But if you see something that there's no light on it, it's just emitting a light color, red color. I'm sorry, but that is what Schwarzenegger was doing. You remember the scene where he dropped his eye? They hit the wall, and when he dropped his eye, and he was moving around. It's kind of 80s, so it looks a little bit fake when he's moving around, but still, the theory is there. Or if you see the Sarah Connor Chronicles, when the computers, when one of the Terminators looking up something, you see the screen, but you just see a human shape, but you see the red eyes glowing out of the screen. They're always emphasizing that. I'm just saying, not saying that that's what these things are, but interesting how many things are masked in entertainment.
Okay, so if that's the case, Barry, are you saying that, so potentially somebody along the way has created an AI, almost like a robot, cryptid, and sent them back to 1903 to go terrorize some guys for a week? I mean, is that kind of where we're going with this, or what? I mean,
time travel keeps coming up.
It does.
It implies it could be something that's done right now, a genetic monstrosity that could be made right now. Take it back in time and try to start it there. And when keeping this real, okay, we've got something, the propagation of information throughout the propagation of data and information, which is actually sending information backwards in time at superluminal speeds. Okay, that's actually being done right now. That is proven. So if they can do that, it doesn't take much more to start actually trying to send something back. We already know now that they were using that technology a long time ago to try to tap out stuff, SOS codes and things to people like Hitler. Do this, do that, and trying to send that information backwards through time. That's the propagation of subliminal information is what that's called.
That's right. Well, and we also have Project Pegasus, which we have whistleblowers that have come forward. And trying to think, what is that guy's name? Andrew Basiago or something, I think was his name. I may get maybe. Yeah.
He was the first one. He was the first one to come out with any of that time travel stuff. The first one to talk about Montauk. And then everything kind of seemed like it got built on that gentleman. And the stories and the narrative started from him. But he was the first one. The one person that I met that said they'd been in the Montauk chair, and that was back in 2017, I met them. They had described, they said that actually when they heard him talking about it, it triggered their memory. They had a father that was in the Air Force, and they remember being in a room where there was a dentist chair. They were a little kid. They're waiting for the dentist to come in. Amongst these people,
right.
amongst these soldiers in black outfits. Stuff like that people have been exposed to. It's really kind of a trip.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. He was talking about. So Basiago, he was talking about Project Pegasus. Say he was one of the boys that was sent back to give our former presidents messages to change the course of our history. Okay, to basically change the course of history and to see, like, to go on different timelines. They talked about how and Jimmy Payne and James Rink and we've talked about this before on James's show. Jimmy Payne said that and Dr. John used to come on my shows too. Dr. John, he said that he knew Basiago, I guess, and that they would send little boys back on different timelines to see who shot Lincoln, at the theater. And so in different timelines, it was a different person every time, just about. So, but they wanted to get the right person to do it so they could alter the timeline to put us on the total crap show we're on right now, I guess. I don't know. I think we're living in crazy times no matter what.
There's certain things. If you review the information given by David Lewis Anderson, he talked a lot about some of these paradoxes that scientifically weren't measuring out with their time reactors and things like that. Very interesting that some of the things that we hear, like the Godfather, grandfather clause, and grandfather effect, some of those things don't pan out. He was saying it's quite interesting, you know. And when I listened to him, he had talked about a certain type of time reactor that used a rotating magnetic field to create this, actually the bubble itself, and then had all of these antennae that were actually firing lasers down into the bubble to retard and advance the time field around this bubble itself, and how what they could put in the bubble, what could survive, what couldn't. Quite interesting, you know. And that's the first person I heard really talking about that hard scientific wise. And then people tried to discredit him and jumped all over him, and he just kind of disappeared, you know. But it is what it is. I haven't heard many other people throw out hard time science like that. Not like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's fascinating. So many of these targets have to deal with time travel, Barry, like you said, which is really cool. And Andrew, this is a cool comment because Andrew Lopez is in the chat. He says, this Van Meter resembles the Jersey Devil, similar descriptions. The Jersey Devil is said to have a horse face, but it basically an elongated face and bipedal. It has kind of goat legs though, I think. I remember when I remote viewed that. That was another one of my targets a while back. I thought I was looking at a goat man. Okay, which is a little, but yeah, it is similar. It is kind of a mammal, marsupial, weird thing. Excuse me, with wings. So
yeah, I think what you see the variants of these winged creatures, just like you see the variants of the Sasquatch, and you see all these different types of these genetic aberrations that they're making. You know, I mean, it's all sorts of, and you see them in the sea too. You got everything from the reported Kraken to the reported organism 46B that you had so many problems with, up to what you actually start seeing when you start reading the things from those people that work on deep sea rigs. There's a lot of stuff that reports. There's two different types of giant squid. They have what is it? The sperm squid, I think it is. What's it? The biggest one. There's the biggest squid right now that, oh Lord, what is it? But you hardly ever see it. They've never even hardly caught one before. But it's the giant squid ever recorded. Just that alone is enough to almost account for some of the reports of the Kraken and of organism 46B. We don't know. There's all sorts of different things they're finding down there all the time. No one can just disqualify that, especially when you got somebody that's down there diving saying they've seen something.
That's right, Barry. Just for to qualify this, who gave me that target of organism 46B?
It was me.
Thank you.
It was a blind target. You didn't know what it was.
That's right.
The main reason I gave it to you is because I wanted to see if it was real. You know, and the reason that is I'd heard things that organism 47B was something that somebody had made up and put out. I'd heard that before, but then I started reading other things, different accounts of it and of that area, and also accounts from people under, like I said, deep sea rigs. And that's not stuff that's really in the cryptid world, unquote, but it's people that are really scared that seen something or afraid to go back down there and do their jobs. You know, so I just wanted to see where that actually, the reality came in, and the reality of the Kraken as well. You know, because they're all right around there, the same type of a creature to a degree, octopus type. And that's long before we did that, long before they started even talking about how octopus is actually probably not terrestrial. You know, they have that whole TV show now. Resident Alien. Resident Alien is he's some type of an octopus relation from another solar system. He's talking to the octopus that's in there ready to get ate up at a restaurant. You know, it's interesting. Just all that stuff's coming up now. Heck, he even went to a conference and they made fun of anyone who's a contactee, and they were talking about blue avians and everything on that TV show. I was sitting there like, wow, okay.
Wow. Yeah, well, thank you for clarifying that. You did give me that remote viewing target yourself. It was a blind target. I saw myself getting slandered on another channel one night with somebody that claimed that he gave me that target. So we're not going to go there tonight. But that was a lie, like all the other lies too.
Well,
But anyway,
maybe there's another reality. They might have another reality. Maybe they
I
went through a
know
wormhole. Did it work? You know,
absolutely.
it's possible.
I know. Well, that and you know what, John here, John. Hey, John. John has a comment. I wonder if timelines are collapsing, hence the Mandela effect. Maybe we're coming up on something so significant that it affects every timeline simultaneously. That's a great point. What do you think about that, Barry?
You know, what I've seen, what does seem to affect the timeline simultaneously is solar events. When we have these time skips and these time edits and the Mandela effects becomes most apparent is during times of high solar activity. So that's the one thing that goes through. And I think also you've got in the private sector that I've talked about before, you've got a lot of people trying to mess with the timelines from this planet, other planets, and there's a time war going on. So I think that's becoming a constant problem too. And between that and those agencies that are like the temporal commissioners that try to keep that regulated, and I think I've encountered those beings before. So you know, it's kind of it's fairly tight. And one more thing, leaving that up, one thing that always comes up on this timeline collapsing type of thing is they're trying to shift us to a timeline of nuclear war.
Oh, yeah.
It always comes up again and again. It's you know, it's always a problem. So something else for us to be aware of.
Yes. Be aware. Don't live in fear. Don't live in fear, y'all. Please don't. Uh, oh, we have. Okay, so John here. We have a solar micronova coming up right on schedule. Uh-oh. And we're in a solar event now. Okay. So that's something to be aware of. Okay. And like I said, y'all, none of us, don't ever live in fear. Nukes are not going to happen. That's right, Carrie. I agree. We're going striving for our highest timeline here. For the highest timeline. Okay. And
You better strive hard. You better strive
we're
hell
striving.
hard.
I'm striving
Strive
like
hard.
hell, man.
Yeah, because this place is messed up.
It is. It's a mess up.
And the fact that it hasn't happened yet is all but a miracle. And we all know that. So we need to keep that striving going, definitely. Keep the positive timeline.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, in the meanwhile, we're going to be over here at the Cryptid Huntress channel, bringing you the best in entertainment. Okay. And talking about some interesting cryptids and some cool subjects. And Barry, you gave me another target, another target. Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. I hit it 3 times. We'll have to do a show on that soon because I still don't know exactly what that was. But it was some kind of.
That was going to trip you out.
Yeah. So we have some more to talk about, but it has to do with a temple and something that is cloaked. You can't see it, right? I guess we'll talk about it whenever we do it. Okay. But I spent a lot of time on that one doing that remote viewing. So
you ain't done yet. You ain't done yet.
I know. So we just went back today. Listen, today for this show, y'all know I've been so busy. I went back and I found an old practice target I had done a long time ago. And that's what this is, the Van Meter monster. Okay. I figured you guys, the audience would enjoy this tonight. And Barry and I are going to continue to work on some other targets, and we're going to bring them to y'all when they're ready. But remote viewing does require a lot of work, and it's very draining. And also, Barry and I have to figure out what the heck we're looking at with my data too. So it takes a while.
You know, it scrolled by really quick. I saw somebody asking about the nuclear silos being disabled. Didn't that happen? Yes, that happened. If you go back on her shows, I gave her that as a blind target to remote view, along with the Zimbabwe children. It'd be that episode.
That's right. If you go down to the Cryptid Hunters channel, go down to videos. It's underneath the live shows. Go to the videos, and it's about 3 or 4 over. Okay, and it's a pink thumbnail with nuclear power plants on it in a UFO. So yeah, y'all go to that. Maybe I'll put it in the comments after the show tonight. I'll pin it to the comments. It's that one, that show. Yeah. Well, man, this has been a great show. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, you guys, if I didn't get to all the comments and the questions tonight because they were going so fast. There were so many of them, and I was so busy talking tonight. So I apologize if I didn't get to your questions, y'all. And they go fast. It's like flash, like a lightning speed over here. So if you guys are going to be in the Georgia area on Saturday, y'all please come see me. I'm actually going to be speaking at the wrong one. Oh, there's some of my keychains, y'all. My Patreon members get keychains. Okay. And if you come to the Bigfoot Festival this weekend, I will give you a keychain if you come tell me, hey, I watch your shows. I'm going to be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival, y'all. Down in Molina, Georgia. I'm going to be there along with our friend Barry, Matthew Delph, the badass monster hunter.
Matthew Delph.
Yeah.
I like him. He's cool.
Me too. So I'm going to be there with Matthew Delph. Trey Hudson down here at the bottom of the flyer. He's the head of my team with the Meadow Project. He's going to have video of that. Oh, I actually have video of the cube up on my Facebook page, y'all. So if you guys go to my Facebook page, Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress, a video, the video, the beginning of a possible documentary that might be coming out, has video of the portal there. So y'all go watch that. Go follow me. Give me a like over on Facebook. Okay. It's there. We're going to be talking about that this weekend. I'm going to be talking about the Elkins Creek Bigfoot on Saturday morning. I start talking at 10 a.m. I'm the first one, so I can party hard the rest of the day over there at the Molina Bigfoot Festival. So y'all come see me. It's down in Middle Georgia, over on the west side of the state. It's going to be a good time. Also, Melissa Adair will be there, Johnny Two Bears, and George Wrigley. Okay, so I hope to see y'all there. And yeah, come see me. Tell me you watch my shows, and I promise you I'll give you a keychain if I got some left. Okay. Barry, what do you have going on? What you got going on in the future?
Nothing really. I've just got done with that conference, and that's the main thing right now. I'm just practicing or focusing on personal sessions and stuff for those that need them. So that's kind of where I'm at, and we'll see what the future brings, though.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you just came off of a fantastic conference over in Las Vegas with Jimmy Church and that whole crowd. A lot of people I know were there, and I'm super proud of you. And I'm glad you're able to go to that for sure.
It was a good one. Definitely met some people I want to meet in person, like Alexis Brooks and others. So it was very beneficial. It was cool. Good networking, Yeah. I got told more jokes by Nick Pope than I could probably take.
He's on Ancient Aliens, am I right?
Yeah, he's the English guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and everybody keep Derek Galloway and his family in your prayers. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but keep them in your prayers. Okay, thank you, C. Duke. I appreciate that. All right. Well, this has been a really great show, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope that if you had any questions on the Van Meter monster, I hope Barry and I answered them. Honestly, I'm always left with more questions than answers after these shows, Barry. I really am.
Yeah, me too.
But hey, we had to make a connection with Godzilla tonight, the Mothman, pterosaurs, and I don't know, whatever other. Oh, and the Jersey Devil. Okay. This was and the directed energy weapons. So this is always a good time. But all right, Barry, will you come back and hang out with me again soon?
Hey, thank you. I will definitely anytime. Thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure. And thank you to the audience. And check me out on YouTube. I'm still there.
Okay, perfect. Oh yeah, you guys go. Hold on, I've got Barry. You guys go subscribe to Barry on YouTube and join his Patreon, you guys. It's 100% worth it. Please go do that. Barry puts a lot of time and effort into his research, into all of his videos, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So y'all please go support Barry over there on his channels if you haven't already. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, I will see you guys this weekend. I'm going to be in Molina Saturday morning. Y'all come see me, Molina, Georgia. I'm probably not going to be at Spaced Out Radio this weekend. I have some, I'm going to be out of town all weekend. And if I can, I'll get back Saturday night. You'll see me there. I'll let y'all know. I'll announce that on Saturday night if I can come or not. Okay. All right, Barry. Well, listen, have a great night. Thank you for being my co-host, my partner in crime. I appreciate you. Awesome. Okay, everybody, have a great night. I will see y'all next week if I don't see you this weekend at the Molina Bigfoot Festival. Bye, y'all.